Dear students, let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 30th May 2017. The first article, questions that won't go away. This article is related to recent human shield incident in Kashmir, in which Major Gogoi has tied Mr. Dar to front of a jeep as a human shield to protect the election officers on duty from stone pelters. This has raised many questions related to legality, morality, rights, etc. Mr. Shiv Vishwanathan, he talks about the article from the rights perspective of the individuals. Now, integrity of body is very much important in the concept of rights. Rights are as a concept, they have to treat the human body as sacred. And the protection of this human body is important for every citizenship. So it means the body and the sanctity of the body along with the person, these are critical factors in a citizenship. So in this context, taking a person as a human shield, it has led to a perception that a human body is more an instrument towards or an on line of duty. So that goes quite contrary to integrity of body, integrity of person. And second thing is, legality, if you take over here, it goes against the fundamental rights. The human shield issue is violative of the rights of a citizen. And the second is, the right to life and liberty are being put into danger of an individual. So, the third perspective, we can see it this way. The individual who is being tied to jeep, his life is being considered as, or he is considered as a lesser human being who is worth of such a treatment. So that is also a kind of disrespect to a body and disrespect to a person. So these are the arguments. In a nutshell, human body, it has got its own sacrosanct position, and the rights in our constitution are meant to protect this human body and a person holding that body. And second perspective is legality. If you take Geneva Convention, using human shields is violative of Geneva Convention. So, historically if you see, the brutalization of the human body has taken different forms. Either you talk about the Manipur incidents or Armed Forces Special Powers Act, or you talk about Devadasi system or prostitution, forced labor, all these are different forms of the brutalization of human body, and the human shield also falls into that category from the rights perspective. So for every issue there are multiple perspectives to it. On the other side, another perspective of the issue is from nationalism, patriotism, etc. So Mr. Gogoi's act can also be seen from nationalistic jingoism. So in this context, the circle of jingoism is growing in India and is also permitting huge areas of violence in the name of cattle, that is in the name of cow, or in the name of armed force violence. Everything is protected in the name of this circle of jingoism. So that is what is the second opinion he expresses. So in this circle of jingoism, a person is also deprived of his right to resent. So in this context, the rights are becoming more instrumental and temporary. That is what is the essence of this article is. So again, remember three carry home points. The rights in the constitution are given to individual, not to the community. Second thing is, an individual body and person both are sacred. That is the root cause of citizenship and the rights guaranteed. And the third point from a liberal perspective is, every person shall have a choice, a voice to express his resentment that shall not be taken away in the cycle of jingoism in the name of nationalism or patriotism. So this is what is the essence of this article. A way out for her too. So this article is in the context of triple talaq. One of the major criticism about triple talaq is it is violative of equality, gender justice, etc. So an example of this is a woman cannot initiate a divorce process. In this article, the author says that there are many other choices for the woman under Muslim tradition, Islamic tradition to initiate divorce process. He talks about fask, F-A-S-K-H, divorce on specific ground, talaq tafawid, kula, mubarat, khair al-bulug. These are the different forms of divorce. One is divorce on consent and divorce on specific grounds, divorce on attainment of puberty. These are the various grounds which the author states about. So I do not know much in depth about these forms of divorce. So the author's intention is there is a choice for the woman beyond the cumbersome legalistic process to achieve the divorce to get out of an unhappy marriage in Islam. Shocking cover-up. It is about Zika virus. You know that Zika virus is spread by a mosquito, that is Aedes aegypti mosquito, and also it has sexual transmission. That's why a person who is affected with Zika, he is asked to abstain from sex for at least 6 months. And second is Aedes aegypti, also a mosquito which transmits various other diseases which are prevalent in India. You talk about dengue, it is transmitted by Aedes aegypti. So, the same mosquito can transmit this disease. The second point is, 3 cases are being identified. These people never travel to Zika infected areas, Zika prevalent areas. It means they contacted the disease from someone else. So, index case is not yet identified. So, it means the virus might be spreading silently in the community, and it can cause the symptoms in the pregnant mothers, that is microcephaly and other deformities. So health ministry, in spite of identifying these 3 people way back in January itself and not informing it to the people to take caution, is a wrong step. It is a shocking cover-up, and India is being compared with China in this context. China, when SARS virus is being identified, it did not notify it to WHO and put the entire world in risk. So the containment of virus was not made possible because of not informing it to the public health officials. Now the next is marks and standards. Now there are different boards. Let's take CBSE, ICSE, SSC, like that there are different boards for school education. How to bring parity across these boards so that the admission process to universities can be streamlined. So in this context, a moderation principle is being brought in by CBSE. So here we need to understand the education system, it is quality, access, equity. These are very much important points. So when you bring in this, the evaluation system in India is fair towards people who are taking tuitions, who have controlled learning. It means the person who has creativity is not very much respected in our education system. So we also need to bring in an external evaluation mechanism to test the creativity of a student. And also, the quality of education system has to be improved to bring in a comparative perspective. Then only moderation can help. Beyond the language of conflict, let us understand the language situation in India. Hindi is an official language along with the other languages in Schedule 8 of the Constitution. But there is a responsibility on the government of the day to promote Hindi in Devanagari script. So Hindi, making it as a national language, for all business of the government, it has become very much a controversial point in Indian history, in post-independent Indian history. But there are 2 points which are in support of Hindi. It is spoken by the largest population and it has a constitutional status. And second, Article 348, if we observe, the Supreme Court can continue English as its language. High courts can choose Hindi, English or any other language in Schedule 8. As judges need to be transferred from one court to the other court, obviously there has to be a common language, either Hindi or English. And Supreme Court is by and large in support of English. And second is, with regard to the education, What has to be considered as a mother tongue? The court or Supreme Court has provided clear guidelines. So if you take state of Karnataka versus recognized unaided schools, the Supreme Court has stated that what considers to be a mother tongue, it has to be decided by the parents. And the state has to make arrangements for the child to be taught in mother tongue. So in this context, imposing Hindi as a language on all may not be possible. So what is the way out in this situation? Mother tongue plus English shall be made prevalent everywhere in the changing globalized scenario, and Hindi shall be made a ceremonial language for the state purposes, especially with regard to various state-related ceremonies. That is what the author suggests. Flow of funds in India. So recently, RBI has released a set of data. So way back, India has taken up national accounting standards based on flow of funds. Because of this, we are able to identify how the trends are changing after LPG era. Previously, the government enjoyed the greatest debt. Now, private sector is catching up. Most of the debt for the private sector is coming from outside. And household savings are decreasing. So these are the various trends which we can see. That's what is being stated. Let's go to North Korea fires Scud missile into sea. Again, that's a provocative step. Emmanuel Macron and Putin meet in Palace of Versailles. It did not yield sufficient results. Or Mr. Macron was very much critical about Russian media during this meeting, which tried to do a propaganda. How I will use this information over here? A media shall not be an influencing agent or a propaganda mission. The media shall simply act as an unbiased news delivery channel. So that's what is the point which we need to talk about. And it is 50 years of 6 days war. The Israel's history got redefined with this 6 days war. So held in 1967, Israel got West Bank, East Jerusalem from Jordan, and then Gaza Strip and Sinai Peninsula, all these things in the 6 day war. So the 6 day war is very much important in the history of Israel. Now, the Modi is visiting Germany. And what are the important relations between India and Germany? We want to have a free trade agreement with European Union. You know the strength and might of Germany in European Union. And second thing is, Germany is also looking eastwards as the relations with United States are getting strained in Trump's era. So that's why the trade relations are expected to grow much stronger. Akash systems for army. What is an Akash system? It's a missile which has been 96% indigenously developed, and this is a surface to air missile. So this missile is going to be inducted into army. The next article, EduCom pins hope on insolvency code. So one of the reasons in India for low ranking on ease of doing business index is a cumbersome procedure to revive and close a business. So the bankruptcy and insolvency code is aimed at easing this part of the business in India. So this bankruptcy insolvency code is being filed already in court by the EduComp, and it is trying to see a revival under BIC code. So here, it's not EduComp which we need to remember. It is the bankruptcy and insolvency code which we need to remember. And thank you very much. In today's editorial, in Shiv Vishwanathan article, how he started essay and how he closed essay, try to take a clue from that. Because he has used a very good hooker. When I started reading it, there is an attention to that essay. And a closure if you've seen. So there is also an attention which he is trying to gain in the form of an advice. And in between the essay is not very much well phrased, and it is using complex sentences. But however, starting and ending, there is a very much interest in this particular essay. Try to take a look onto that. Thank you very much. All the best.